So, Jordan, last time we talked about the really interesting topic of Jesus basically not taking the creme de la creme of the Jewish society and starting with those individuals, especially just as his 12 apostles, considering the fact that he would take someone, a zealot in his group, but also a tax collector, and then basic fishermen like Peter and James and John. Yeah, just a hodgepodge of all these people. And today we're talking about what he made them into, right? I think one immediate example is just Peter, because you have this impetuous, as you said last time, kind of guy who just always has an ability to put his foot in his mouth and all that kind of stuff. He's one who denies Jesus, but then eventually, what's so weird is that even in all the midst of his cowardice, Jesus redeems him. And then in like Acts chapter 4, Acts chapter 5, these guys are before the council, and they recognize with the boldness of speech that these guys have been with Jesus, right? That they are transformed by that relationship. I just want to know what you thought about that.
And what I think is most impressive is that scene you're talking about, where these average, everyday people who had no training, they basically had very little faith that we see in all the stories. Jesus always saying, "Where is your faith?"
Yeah.
And then after Jesus himself dies, all of a sudden they're transformed. They are standing boldly in the face of persecution and death and not denying the very person they denied just a little while ago.
Yeah.
And that transformation, we got to wonder, where does that come from? What caused them to turn from these lowly, normal people to these spiritual leaders and figures that we have so much reverence for today? What do you think?
Well, I think definitely that's the whole new covenant promise of the Spirit, right? That Jesus would put his Spirit in his, apostles and in his disciples. And so we clearly see that. These people have been with Jesus. You look at Peter, who in the face of suffering is denying his master. But then when you look at 1 Peter, it's God chose Peter to write this letter to a church who's suffering and is tempted to recant their faith, and he's the one encouraging them now. Because he's the one who failed, but now he has this bold faith, and eventually, just like Jesus said in John 21, he's going to be crucified just like Jesus was.
And I think that emphasizes a very important point. It's the very flaws and mistakes of his past that God uses to help people in the future to remain faithful to him. We're not expected in ourselves to be these perfect, holy, blameless people when we come to Christ. We all have our backstories. We all have our starting point. But God nourishes us, changes us, and uses everything we've been through to make his gospel reach other people, to make other people be faithful.
Amen. Amen.